Hi everyone, I'm Sandie La Nae. Welcome to Psychic Creations. We have a very interesting show for you today as we are continuing to learn more about the fascinating works of cowboy poetry. Please welcome to Psychic Creations a man who has had many publications to his name in regards to cowboy poetry, the awesome Horsebard Roy. Oh,
hello.
Hi. Thank you so much for being on the show. What an honor. What an honor this is to have you.
Well, I'm just happy to be here.
Oh, cool. Very nice. Well, I have a ton of questions for you, okay? All right. First of all, what I like to ask is, are you a native Nevadan?
No, ma'am. I come from Nevada by way of Arizona, but first Mississippi and Arizona here.
Okay.
Yes.
When did you come to Nevada?
21 years ago.
Nice. Very nice. Awesome. Do you like Nevada?
I actually like Nevada because I lived in Phoenix. And I came up here and it actually snowed. And the rivers had water in them. It was just awesome. Just love it.
A lot different from Phoenix though, right?
Yes.
Oh gosh. And do you live in Carson City?
I live in Stagecoach now.
Stagecoach.
I lived in Carson City for a little while until we finally found a place out in Stagecoach.
Oh, that's nice out there. That really is nice out there. Okay. Well, let's see. You like the cowboy life?
I love it.
Awesome. What was it that intrigued you to live in this way?
Well, when I was a little kid, my dad would take us to the theater in Mississippi, right? And we'd watch Roy Rogers and Gene Autry and all that. And then we'd go home and we'd try to ride our mules, because we had mules and whatever. And it's like, that just ingrained in me. And then when a tornado took away our house, we lit a shuck. Basically, and we came to Arizona, and my dad, he got this job working with cows, and he would let me sit in the saddle with him while he herded them into the barn and stuff. And it was just something that was just ingrained with me ever since. And even in high school, I tried to drive a Ford Mustang, you know.
Oh, well, sure.
Because I just loved horses,
right?
You know, but I've had cattle, I have beef cattle, I've had milk cows.
Oh.
But horses are kind of our forte. And then when I married my wife, she was totally horse crazy. So then we just went with horses, that's all. We just, you know, we haven't had any cattle for a long time.
Oh, okay. Do you have horses where you are living now? Or
I do. We got 4 right now.
Oh,
and
nice.
they're gated horses.
What does that mean? I know
Missouri
nothing
Fox
about
they smoother walk, you know. Or trot, you know, when they're going. You don't feel this, you don't, and you know, that kind of stuff. It's like, it's pretty smooth.
Oh, nice.
Right, so.
Very nice. Do you breed or just have?
No, we just have.
Oh, fun. Oh, that's nice. And I think where you're living, and I'm going to put you on the spot here, I see his Facebook post with the most beautiful range horses, free range. Is that what you call them?
Well, they're wild horses.
Wild horses. Just absolutely beautiful. And do they come and talk to your horses?
They do.
Do they?
Yes, they do. They come right up to the fence and they try to impress the mares. And,
sure.
And I have one gelding that is not scared of them.
Oh, okay.
He will follow. The other one's a big coward. That's my horse. He gets as far away as he can. He don't even look at them. But yeah, they come up. They've been coming up for years like that. Yeah. So, but they never try to knock down the fence or anything like that.
Oh, okay. They're polite about it.
Right. Right.
I'll be darned. Isn't that interesting? Well, let's see. Let's get right into the nitty-gritty. What inspired your interest in becoming a cowboy poet?
1985, I was reading a Reader's Digest thing, and they were going to have a cowboy poetry, the first one ever in Elko, Nevada. And I had no idea where Elko was, but I thought to myself, now that would be kind of fun. I don't know if I'd have the nerve to get up there, but that would be kind of fun. So I just forgot about it until I got up here. And then, you know, I worked at the joint, you know, cruising over there.
Okay.
So I'd be sitting up there all bored watching those guys, you know, we had the horse program there and everything.
Oh, sure.
And I'd be watching whatever. And so I just picked up a pen and started penning poems while I was up there. And that's the way it got started.
How interesting. That is very interesting. What was your first poem that you wrote?
I think, well, the first one I ever did in front of a crowd was called Green Rider. And I got up there and I read it. It was in Wickenburg, Arizona. I read it, and then I ran back and sat down real quick, and I thought, boy, that was stupid. And then afterwards, a guy came up and said, "Can I have a copy of that poem?" And then I thought, ooh, I've stumbled onto something.
Right.
You know.
Oh, how fun!
But
Well,
the first poem I ever wrote, Cowboy Poem, because I was always kind of like a writer.
Okay,
you
sure.
know, but Cowboy Poem was Roy Rogers. It was one about Roy Rogers.
Really?
Because we went down to Victorville when his museum was there.
Right.
And so I just wrote it and sent it to him.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, did he respond back?
The people did. The
okay.
people that worked at the museum, they said,
Yeah.
Roy hasn't been in for a while. He's got, sick or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but they said, we'll get it to him. And, and they said, thank you. So that was good enough for me.
Well, sure. He probably got to read that.
Yeah.
What an honor. What an honor. Oh, I love that. Now, you prefer the humorous side of cowboy poetry. In what way is that different than other forms of cowboy poetry?
Well, just a lot of it is real morose and sad. And if it's good, it's okay. You know what I mean?
Right.
But funny always goes over pretty good.
Well, sure it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Unless you're at a funeral or something.
Well, yeah, you kind of have to tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, but, and it's just the way I try to look at it. My dad told me, you might as well laugh as to cry, because the outcome's going to be the same. And when he told me that, I just started thinking he's right,
Yeah.
So I incorporate that into my writings. Just try to keep it lighthearted, tongue-in-cheek stuff.
Right.
So.
Oh, how fun.
But not all of them. So every once in a while I'll do a serious one.
Once in a while. I like that. I like that. Now, the poems that you cite, are they your own? You wrote your own poems.
Yes, ma'am. I recite all of them. I write them and recite them, and I don't do anybody else's or anything.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask you that question. Okay. Just your own. Nice.
That way you do not have to ask permission or worry if you're going to offend somebody in the audience that knows the real author of the poem or something, you know what I mean? So.
That's a very good point. And then not stepping on copyright toes or anything like that. Very good point. You're smart. You're smart. And that was our next question. Now, have you written poems for other cowboy poets?
Not for other poets, but for celebrities and people like that. I wrote one for Lacey J. Dalton.
You did.
Yes, and then we read it at the Wild Horse Expo or 2006 or something.
Okay.
And,
how fun.
And I wrote for like Bruce the bartender at the Haunted Saloon down there. I was going to do it at that West Fest thing.
Okay.
It was a Tombstone, about Tombstone, Arizona, so I was going to do that. So. And just a few other minor celebrities and stuff, if I get to know them and they become my friends, then I sit down and write them a poem.
Oh, isn't that, what an honor though it is for them to have a poem written about them. Oh, that's fun. Can you write anyway? I never had a poem written about it.
Well, I watched a show the other day and Tony said it. He said, whatever you say or do can be used in a poem when you're around a cowboy poet.
That's true. He said that in his show, and that's very, very true. Oh. Now, you happen to have some publications with your poems, right?
Yes, ma'am. I'm more of a writer than I am a reciter.
Are you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's always... writing has always came natural and easy to me. To recite, I had to almost I didn't drink or nothing, but I almost had to take a drink to get up there the first time. You know what I mean? I used to get butterflies and stuff like that. It took a long time, And so, but writing has always came natural.
Oh, how fun!
When I was in grade school, high school, I would just write something and not think about it, and then they would read it in front of the class, and I would think,
oh.
Well, guess I am good for something.
Oh. Well, that's awesome. And this is one of your books that you have? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell our viewers when and where and how?
Well, this one was just published a few years ago. Okay, I've got 3 poetry books, starting in 2006, and then 2008 or 9, and then this one just a few years ago. See, I start writing, and I have a collection of poems. So then after I get about 50 or something, I cram them in a book or something.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I have 2 novels there because I'm a Western writer, or I'm trying to be.
Oh, I like that idea. When did you get into the novels?
Probably about 5 years ago. But writing a novel, you need a lot of time.
Yes, you
know,
do.
and then you need an editor. And my wife is my editor, but to get her to sit down and edit,
I get that.
That's a different story.
Right.
That's a poem of a different story.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
well, can you tell our viewers just what your novels are all about?
yes, ma'am. They're about wild horses here in Nevada and outlaws. They're fiction, but I used the little town of Silver Peak down. It's probably about the middle of Nevada, over toward the California line. So I used that, and I drove down there to research that little town, and then I used it as the place where everything takes place. And mostly it's just about just outlaws taking over the town and that kind of stuff, and wild horses are in it. The first one's more about wild horses.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the second one I just kind of mention the wild horses.
Oh, okay.
And I always try to put a poem in every book I write.
I love that.
I pretend like it's the cowboy doing the poem.
Well,
right?
sure.
So, and that's what they're about. I got 2 of them, and they're like sequel. One is The Encounter at Silver Peak, and the other is The Siege of Silver Peak.
Oh,
and
nice.
they're on Amazon.
Amazon,
Yeah.
okay, awesome. Oh, nice. Are you self-published or?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I self-published, and then I would take them to the gatherings to sell and stuff, because I didn't want to go through all that. You just take them, you do the poems. If somebody likes a poem, then you say it's in that book right there and whatever.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good. I like that idea. You bet. I'm an indie writer myself, and so I just take them and sell them wherever I can.
Yeah.
Well, can you tell our viewers just where you have done, recited your poetry? Okay.
All the way east to Tennessee. Is that east?
Hey, yeah, east is this way. That's right. Yeah.
All the way north to
Really?
Idaho.
Oh.
All the way south to Texas, South Texas.
Wow.
And all the way west to California.
I'll be darned. Wow, are these like events or?
Yeah.
Or
What you do is like, if you see they're having one, then you write them a little resume and whatever, and if they hire you, fine, and if they say, well, come on down and just do open mic, we did that too.
Have you?
Yeah, just for the pure pleasure of just going somewhere.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
And to get your poetry out there too. Nice.
That's what it was all about, mostly just getting it out.
Right, right.
Yeah, so.
Well, how fun. And I'm sure that everybody enjoyed your poetry.
Well, I hope they did.
Well, I sure have. I know that they probably have too. Now, just on a different avenue, I see that you're an actor as well.
Yes, ma'am, I am.
What is it that you do?
I started out, do you know Eddie Floyd in the radio
I
station?
do.
Okay. He had an actor on there, a real life, genuine Hollywood actor named Michael J. Cutt. He had him on there. So they were talking about making a movie. So I called him up and I said, have horse will travel.
I like that.
Because I wanted to get in the movies on my horse, right?
Sure.
So that just ballooned from, I started meeting other directors and stuff. And then I got to meet Justine Reyes in Reno. She has a talent thing there. So I just started out, she wanted me to take acting lessons, and I told her, no, not at my age. I go, I'll just be an extra. I don't care, just a little extra money and whatever. And so I got to do that for a while. And then this year, I've been in like 3 or 4 movies, and I can't say the name of them because I'm under non-disclosure.
Oh, okay.
But I got a line in each one,
Oh.
And so they'll be out later this year or whatever. And it worked out real good, you know.
Oh, how fun.
And I'm still doing the extra stuff if I get a chance. Like we were in Mustang, you know that?
Oh, you
Yeah.
were?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, I
I'm
have
the
to
one
look
that's-
for you.
I'm the one that's putting that horse in the trailer, but you only see half of me.
Oh, let's be sure and look for him in that
And
movie.
then, and also we're in the bleachers doing the Star Spangled Banner, you know, and they're singing
Uh-huh.
it, and I'm standing there with my hat over my, like that. You know.
Oh my gosh! Well, we have to look for that too.
Yeah, it's just mostly I just did it just for fun,
Uh-huh.
because I just retired,
Oh.
and so, but it worked out pretty good actually.
Uh-huh.
You know, so.
Well, sure. Well, happy retirement.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. What was your 9 to 5?
I was working at the National Guard as, for the state. I was
Oh.
working the gate, you know, the people that came in.
Uh-huh.
I would check their IDs and stuff.
Oh.
But before that, I was prison guard over there, just right next to the National Guard.
Right,
Yeah, so-
on 5th Street there.
Yeah, so.
Oh, well, what a different change of career
Yeah.
then for you.
No kidding.
Awesome. Well, what just kind of piqued your interest in being an actor? I know you just kind of said that, but I wanted to
Yeah, well-
hit on that a little more.
Well, you know, when you watch Cowboys, you just want to be in there. You just want to, you know, and so I wanted to get my horse in there, and I wanted the part where I just rode up on my horse, got off, tied him on the hitching rail, walked into the saloon or something. You know what I mean? That's really all I was trying to do. I wasn't, you know, but back in 2003, I was on the credit union's billboard and in 2 commercials with them. So it's like, oh, I might be wanting to get back into that a little bit again.
Oh,
You know,
nice.
it was pretty cool driving into town, and it was there for a year.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't remember that, and I'll have to go back in time and look for that. How fun!
And so that's basically what started the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, have you been on TV shows?
Mhm.
Okay, because I know you mentioned movies and then now the commercials.
Yeah, me and Tony were on the news one time, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, well, that's a good time.
Cowboy Poetry.
Oh, how fun. Oh, I bet you guys were awesome together. Yeah, how fun. Well, at 4, that's all right. We'll have to go back in the archives and take a look at that.
For the horse's sake. We could never get a divorce. We couldn't decide who gets which horse. It's hard enough to lose your spouse, split the furniture and sell the house. But if I lost my gelding or mare, that'd be an agony I couldn't bear. Because of the enormity of the loss, I would probably start hitting the sauce. So we will avoid a divorce mistake and stay together for the horse's sake. This one's called The Flight of the Phoenician. I left Phoenix, Arizona in 1998. I entered into a blissful matrimonial state. We tied the proverbial knot down near LA and we moved to northern Nevada the very next day. Now we ate at the buffets till we were about to choke, and we played the slot machines till we were darn near broke. Despite the neon lights, there's one thing that was true. Though I was living in the city, I was a country buckaroo. Now, one thing we'd heard of and we couldn't wait to see was a herd of Nevada's horses running wild and free. So one day we skipped the buffet and we skirted the casino and we drove out to Virginia City in the mountains east of Reno. We sighted our first Mustangs and we came around the curve, and I wanted to show my sweetie I had a cowboy's nerve. So I handed her the camera and asked her if she'd take a shot of me and those wild horses so folks could see how close I got. I walked into the clearing, moved slowly toward the band. Sweetie aimed the camera just like I had planned. I heard some hooves move and I thought that they'd fled. That's when I saw the stallion, his ears pinned flat to his head. I lost him for a moment as he went behind the tree, and when he came back into view, he was headed straight for me, and his demeanor said it all as into the clearing he broke. And my dreams of being a horse whisperer went right up in smoke. He closed the gap between us, and he was big and stocky. Suddenly I felt pretty small and not so doggone cocky. In fact, I turned around in panic, making a beeline for the car, and it seemed like it took forever, though it really wasn't that far. It was the most embarrassing moment of my married life, and I can still remember the words of my new wife. She said, "Honey, slow down, don't be in such a hurry, or else all these pictures are gonna come out much too blurry." Thank you. And this was called Horse Trader. Blacksmith Murray Winslow could sell you an equine you wouldn't find out till later. The horse was probably lame or blind. He was that good of a horse trader. He was such a cunning master at his craft that when he was making a sale, folks in the know could hardly contain their laugh as he weaved his gullible spell. The picture he exuded was honesty and grace, and I'd have to say he was nervy. He'd take a horse never been in a race and make you think it won the Kentucky Derby. Now, I'll never forget the day a stranger came into town saying he needed a horse in a hurry. One of the saloon bums hanging around made tracks to get old Murray. Murray showed up and said, "Gather round, cowpokes, and watch me dupe this buyer." Then he invoked his infallible hoax, this seasoned, accomplished liar. Now the horse being sold was a sorry excuse, hardly bigger than a pony. It was a ewe-necked, splay-footed old wild-eyed cayuse. Its back and its ribs were bony. The stranger listened raptly to one of Murray's spills. Then he bought the flea-bitten mount. He paid him in cash, crisp $20 bills. So many that I lost count. Murray was prancing as he strode to the bank. He crowed all the way. But the deceitful blacksmith's heart quickly sank when he heard what the banker had to say. He said, "Murray, I know you like to swindle, then brag, but this time it strikes me as funny. Sure, you stuck that stranger with that pitiful nag, but he's paid you with counterfeit money."
That is great.
Well, I bought me a mule a little while back. That turned out to be one of the worst mistakes I'd ever made. And this poem is called The Mule Chew. After watching the Bishop Mule Day Parade, I sorely wanted a mule, so I searched the classified advertisements and found what I considered a jewel. He was incredibly strong and stocky, as big around as a cow. And I brought him home in my horse trailer and proudly put him out in the corral. Now, he was as nearly white as that friendly ghost called Casper. And I considered that name for a little while, but I finally named him Jasper. He was half Percheron and half Mammoth Jack, and his shaggy head was massive. But he seemed tranquil and relaxed, was actually kind of passive. And I heard that a mule never forgives and that they never ever forget. That didn't bother me any. I just considered this one a pet. And I knew there was a chance he might bite or might be prone to kick. But after having horses step on my feet, I learned to be pretty quick. Now, over the years, I've had a few bucking horse duels. And I was kind of aware but not really impressed about the quirks of stubborn mules. And seeing this dappled gelding just filled my heart with owner's pride. So after about 3 days of admiration, I decided to take him for a ride. I brushed him down and I bridled him up, and I used a firm gag bit, just in case there was some slight chance he might throw a little hissy fit. He seemed a little bit nervous, but that's okay, because I was too. But I didn't have an inkling about what this mule was about to do. I stepped up into the saddle and I let him have his head. There was not a second's hesitation as across the arena he sped. My light flashed before my eyes, and I figured I'd met my fate as he ignored my cues and cries for help, and he crashed right through the gate. Now, I knew I had two choices as he headed for the paved road. One was to hang on for dear life, the other was to unload. And I didn't like either choice. As fervent prayers I set on high, I knew I was going to get hurt real bad, or worst case scenario, die. I desperately tried a one-range stop, but he seemed to think I was only funning. He just looked at me like, "Surely you jest," and kept riding on and running. The telephone poles were whizzing by. We were moving at an incredible pace. That's when I started mouthing the words to the song Amazing Grace. Now, my prayers were sure enough answered because I survived without a wreck. But they did have to use a crowbar to pry my arms from around his neck. And now I'm a whole lot wiser. I've learned when dealing with mules, you don't treat them like a horse. There's a whole new set of rules.
Oh my gosh, that.
What's your worth? My best friend Slim, he's a shiftless cowboy who'd rather count sheep than cows. When dodging a task, he uses every ploy to work no more than the law allows. One day we were hanging out down at the old feed store. We were out of a job with no real plans when we heard the owner of the C-Bar 4 needed a couple of full-time hands. Now, this man had a temper, was easily annoyed, and had no patience for a shirker. And if you expected to be gainfully employed, you best be a dependable worker. He was a hard-nosed, no-nonsense man whose whole life involved his steers, and he expected his help to ride for the brand like cowboys of former years. But nevertheless, he hired us on, said, "Get unpacked, we got a lot of work to do. There's tons of hay out there to be bucked and stacked and some horses we have to shoot. There's some other chores to attend to like mending that fence and such. The reason I'm behind is I had to fire my last crew for goofing off too much." Slim listened to the ever-growing work list, and finally I heard him say, "I have one job. Let me ask you this. How much does this job pay?" The boss looked intently at Slim, so they ain't no use to fret. Guess he was trying to motivate him. He said, "What's your worth, you'll get." Shocked disbelief spread over Slim's face. "You're paying me what I'm worth?" he spat. "Oh, boss, I'm sorry, but if that's the case, I can't live on that." You're done.
Oh! Can you tell our viewers your contact information?
Harold Roy Miller, Stagecoach, Nevada, phone number 775-220-9556.
Very good, very good. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being a wonderful guest on our show today. I know that our viewers were probably pretty darn happy to meet you like I am too. Awesome. All right.
Thank you.
Oh, this was very fun. This was very fun. Poems are beautiful. All right. Now, if you would like to be a guest on Psychic Creations, please know that the content of our show includes wonderful people about cowboy poetry. You can contact me at my website, which is www.sandypsychicstones.com, or at my email address, which is admin@sandypsychicstones.com. Thank you for watching Psychic Creations, and we'll see you next show.